Hi
Woohoo.
everyone. Hi
Hi,
Claire
everyone. Hi,
and
Annie.
Joel.
Oh, this is so exciting. A new year, a new lineup of webinars.
Yep.
So happy 2020, everyone. For those of you who are not yet online, but may be watching this later, my name is Claire Kelly. I'm the International Immigration Advisor for NBCC, and currently, and I guess permanently, I'm at the Moncton campus. I'm here on the Moncton campus. It's snowing lots outside. You can't see it, but that's probably why it's so bright and white. Yeah, Hanny, where are you?
So my name is Hani Kamal. I'm International Affairs Coordinator and I'm work out of corporate office in Fredericton.
Hmm. Is there
And
snow there today?
it is snowing today. I think
Yeah.
it's typical Canadian winter.
Yeah, lots
We're
of
just
snow.
going to share our timeline and schedule for webinar and
Hmm.
let you know guys what to expect as we going to do more webinars. Please stay tuned on our NBCC international Facebook page. We will announce schedule for upcoming webinars soon, and the agenda for today, I'd like to, first of all, I want to say thank you everyone who is sending us messages for your
Hmm.
intention. Me and Claire and all of our team, we love to hear from you, and that is the reason why we're doing these webinars, because we want to, first of all, want you to know who we are, and we will, talk about news. We will review most common questions, and we just switch to live questions from you guys.
Hmm. Yeah, we love these webinars to get to know students before they arrive and for students to get to know us. I know that working here on the campus, I walk around with first year students and they're so happy to chat because they followed these webinars all the way before they arrived in Canada. So it's good. I think we've got a pretty good reputation with these webinars. So I hope future students who are watching get the same benefit out of it. So Henny, I think yeah. So speaking of future webinars, we are planning on doing these on a weekly basis. Is that right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
So every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time.
yep.
Yeah.
I mean, wait the schedule, and yes, but we are planning to do it Wednesday at 10 a.m. because we might adjust it, depends on what we hear from students and their feedbacks, because
Hmm.
the main reason why we do it for the students, and yep, but that is
Yeah.
the plan.
Awesome. So we're looking forward to that.
Yep.
But then, yeah, so I think to kick off before we do have any live questions, you wanted to review some of the frequently asked questions. Is that right?
Yes, I hear a lot from students. Basically, I hear every day, and I chat with some of the students on our Facebook page, and I receive emails via our international inbox and my personal emails. And one of the most common questions that I received during the last week was intakes. So how many intakes does NBCC has? So currently we have winter intake,
Hmm.
which is already close because winter
Hmm.
intake starts in January. The
Hmm.
next upcoming intake would be spring intake in April, but for April intake we have only one program
Yep.
available, and it's business administration accounting. And of course our biggest intake in the fall 2020. So majority of program are offered for fall 2020.
Hmm.
And the second question comes, what is available? Is there any seats available for 2020? And as NBCC is very popular among international students. We're really glad to see increase in numbers of international students. And some programs already closed, but there is some of the programs that's still open. And we update seats availability list every week for international students. And the best way to check seats availability is to go at our nbcc.ca website, and under seats availability for international students, please check what is available and you can apply. because there is seats available for domestic students, and it's a little bit different. So please check seats available for international students. In follow-up, I will send links to our seats availability list. Another question, which is also popular, about the postgraduate program, because many students, they already have experience or knowledge or education in the field, and they ask me about the postgraduate program. Some of the program are closed, some are still open, and you can check it at seats availability list. And students ask me, can I apply for programs that have been waitlisted? And we review waitlisted program often, and if it's more than 20% in line, we want to be honest with you. There is very little chance of getting you to the program, so we close this program, so there is no chance to apply for program with a long wait list. And eligibility for the program. Students ask me if I'm eligible, if I can apply. So my answer to you, yes, you can apply, but our admission office will review your application, and they will let you know if they need documents or if you're eligible. Because currently, we cannot, college admission service will not predetermine if you qualified for admission. They require application submission to provide this information. So please apply, and if there anything else need, our college admission service will let you know. And then I think, Claire, there is a few questions that might be related to you.
Okay.
A lot of students, because international education comes with permits, immigration, and all of the things. So I will read the question, and you just give your perspective. So
Sure.
A lot of students are wondering, because they want to get valuable Canadian work experience, and they're wondering if NBCC program are eligible for postgraduate work permit, and if they are, how long the postgraduate work permit usually, so for how long students can get the postgraduate work permit?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And I think, yeah, the postgraduate work permit is something that used to be unique to Canada, but now more and more countries are actually adapting it because it's so successful. And it's really great. It's really great for international students, because a postgrad work permit is an open work permit, meaning you can work with like almost any employer in Canada. So it really gives you that freedom to work wherever. And it's good for the employers too, because they don't need to fill out any paperwork. International students are kind of treated like any Canadian when getting a job. But when it comes to how long the work permit is going to be, so the good news is that the only students who are eligible for postgrad work permits are those students who are attending a public college or university. So check, you're doing that at NBCC. NBCC is a public college, but also you have to be in a program that's at least 8 months, and another check there, because all of our programs are at least 8 months. So everyone who comes to NBCC is eligible for a postgrad work permit. That's the great news. But then how long it is depends on how long you study. It can also depend on the IRCC officer who gives you the postgrad work permit, to be perfectly honest. Because how it's supposed to work is that any program of study that is between 8 months and 2 years, the postgrad work permit is supposed to be matched up with how long you studied and how long the postgrad work permit is. Like, so if you studied for 8 months, you will likely get an 8-month postgrad work permit. Okay. If you study, and I say that because this is where sometimes the IRCC officer may be generous, because of course you're studying for one academic year, so that's like 12 months. Essentially, you're coming probably in August and you'll finish around June, so it's probably like 10 months, but there's summer break or summer and winter breaks in there. So what it should be is like exactly academic to work, but what it can be is I have seen students that have studied the same program, like it's one academic year, and Some students have received an 8-month work permit, others have received a 10, or others have received a 12-month work permit. So I'm upfront about that to just let you know that even though it should be lined up, it's not always. As I said, some IRCC officers will follow it strictly, others will be a bit more generous. Which is why I do mention to students, if permanent residency is their goal, then they should, and if they are younger students that don't have any work experience from their home country, then I do encourage looking at our 2-year programs, also, or potentially like a 1+1 program. So I think there's hospitality management, and then also hospitality. There were 2, like operations and then management, like or child and youth care has 1 year plus a second year add-on. Like, so look at our 1+1 options, because if you're wanting a longer post-grad work permit, you do need to study longer, and so anything under 2 years is usually tied up exactly, but anything over 2 years, you could potentially get a 3-year post-grad work permit. So that
Great.
helped answer that. It is.
It is
Yeah.
because at NBCC usually we offer 1-year certificate program and
Yeah.
or 2-year diploma, and students ask me for how long can I get a postgraduate work permit after 1 year. So
Yeah.
and
So
another question that I hear very often is,
yeah.
should I apply for additional? First of all, can I work as a student in Canada? If I can work, is it on campus and off campus, and for how many hours?
Yeah.
If you can cover this.
Yep. So working in Canada, yeah, the great thing is also about being a student in Canada is that while you are a full-time student, you can work 20 hours a week off campus, and actually unlimited hours on campus while you're a full-time student. But then when you're on winter break or spring break, whenever there's a scheduled break, you can actually work full time. This is just what comes along with your regular study permit. Okay, so every student, every international student in Canada, again, who's attending a public school, is eligible for this. So, just your study permit allows you to work 20 hours per week off campus, unlimited on campus, and full time during scheduled breaks. But then there's also, I'd think like 90% or 95% of NBCC courses also have an internship or on-the-job training or co-op. And for that, you do require a separate work permit, okay? And you apply for this when you're applying for your original study permit. You also will apply for this work permit, and most of our students receive it. If you don't, it's possible to apply when you get here to Canada. But this essentially allows you to work full-time as part of your program requirements. So usually in April, May, instead of being in the classroom, you will be in a job getting real life work experience that you learned in the classroom. So that kind of replaces class time. It could be paid, it could be unpaid, it could be called a co-op, on-the-job training, internship, whatever, but you do need a separate work permit for that. Yeah, and one thing to also note is that you're not able to work at all before you become a full-time student. All of these things are eligible to you when you start classes. So for anyone who's coming in April or in September, you can't get here 2 months before time and start working. Those criteria only start when you become a student, and they end when you end being a student. So just to make that little notice, I don't want anyone in trouble. So
it is good point because many students ask me, okay, I want to come at the beginning of June and work until the classes starts, but unfortunately it's not the condition. And another question to you, Claire, should students require additional study work permit if they would like to work in Canada during this study?
Additional study work permit? What do you mean? Like,
because students get the study permit, but
mhm.
if they want to work in Canada, because I know if sometimes I would say 90% all our program are internships, so they would require you to have additional study permit. But they're wondering, for 20 hours per week, do students need to have additional study work permit, or they can just
So if they're only if your program does not require an internship or a co-op or anything, and please double check because most of our programs do. But if yours is that 5 or 10% of programs that do not require an internship, then no, you do not require a separate work permit. Just your study permit will allow you to work the 20 hours like while you're a full-time student and full-time during breaks. And yeah, so no, you don't need the separate work permit, but most of our students do. So please double check if you're one of those students, because I think chances are you probably will need a work permit. So yeah, you do need
Thanks.
to. Yeah.
Another question for you, Claire, again. I
Yeah.
think so, because a lot of students wondering me, asking me, okay, I graduate, I got postgraduate work permit, and let's say I'd like to stay in Canada permanently, and they ask me about like immigration opportunities and the chances, and I always advise students that we have immigration advisor who will meet you during your time here, and
Yeah.
she will discuss this opportunity. But just in few words, if student asks, this opportunity to stay after studying work in Canada, is there any opportunity for international student?
Yes, yes, there is. So I'll just break it down simply that there are federal immigration options, there are Atlantic immigration options. So that is the province of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. Because we're one of those 4 provinces, we have Atlantic immigration opportunities, and we have provincial nominee opportunities. So I think in total, you've got 5 or 6 different options that could be available to you. It's all dependent on your situation. So, as I said in just a couple questions back, was if you about the postgrad work permit, if you are coming with work experience from your home country, that's good. Like you can use that experience to count towards your immigration, because most immigration pathways do, almost all except one I'll mention, all of them require work experience, and that can include your home country. So that's good news. If you are a younger student, 19 or 20, and you don't have work experience yet, that's why I do say you should study a bit longer so you can work a bit longer. And after that 1 year work experience, you could apply for most immigration pathways. But there is one exception, and that doesn't require work experience, and that's the Atlantic Immigration Pilot Program, the international graduate stream. So for students who have studied 2 years, at least 2 years, like a 2-year complete program, as things are now, they are eligible, and if they get a job offer from a designated employer, we'll talk about that some other time, but if you've studied at least 2 years, you get a job offer from a designated employer, you could apply without even having work experience. That's the only exception out of all the immigration pathways. So yeah, the short answer is yes, there are lots of options for you. The longer answer is it all depends on your case. So yeah, does that help?
Yeah, it does. It does.
So if you don't have work experience, study longer. That's also kind of my.
That's what I'm telling students. Do not overstress. Do not overthink. You will meet Claire at the campus, and she will talk about this in details. But in
Oh,
general, your answer, like the answer is yes. There are a few conditions, and Claire will
Yeah.
explain you as soon as you come here or during our live webinars.
Yes, I
And
will do my best.
is there anything else that you would like to cover here that you might hear? Because I come to end of my list from the
Yeah.
question from last week. If there anything that you'd like to add?
Yes, there is. So for anyone who's tuning into this, I would say especially for April intake students, you should be applying for your study permit now. Okay, like right now. um, that's what I'm going to say. Probably every webinar is like, if you haven't applied for your study permit, apply for it now. Like ASAP. That's going to be my message throughout these webinars.
Yep.
And one thing I would love, Hanny, am I able to show my screen?
Yep. I'll just.
Okay. Or if you're able to show your screen. I just want to go to the NBCC website and just show them where some resources are.
Okay. Now you can share your screen.
Oh, show my screen. Okay. All right, so just gonna bring up a new window here. So can you see my screen?
Google. Yep.
Okay, and my friend's messaging me. So okay, I'm gonna take you to NBCC. Oops, not okay. Sorry. NBCC.ca. So admissions, international applicants. Yes, you can see that.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna go to visa, permits, and immigration. So I just want everyone to see, so this list here are some helpful links. The ones that I have created since coming into my role, and so I hope, I mean, everything on this website is hopefully helpful to you, but the page that I visit the most is this resources/guides. And so, as I was talking about, applying for your study permit, this is where I would like you to start. So, can you see that, Hanny?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I can see your screen, and I see applying for Canadian study permit, student
Great,
direct
right.
versus regular.
So, for any students who are applying from China, India, Pakistan, Morocco, Senegal, the Philippines, or Vietnam, you have two options to apply for your study permit. There's the student direct stream. You can read about it, some of the advantages there, and the regular study permit stream. And then some tips on how to apply. And then for all students, and even SDS students should check out this second document because it gives a bit more details on the requirements you'll need when you're applying. And you'll see here, please apply as soon as possible. This is always my message. So, you'll have to fill out some IRCC forms, you'll have to pay fees, you'll have to get your photocopy of your passport, 2 photos, letter of acceptance from NBCC. Of course, that's the first step, is to get accepted to NBCC. You'll need financial support, biometrics, and a letter of explanation, which is really important. So please read that. And then some other requirements may be required depending on your country or your particular situation. And then just the step by step. So this is, I think this is a very useful first step when you're applying for your study permit. So, so as I said, go to the NBCC, international students, or, it can take you right to, visa, permits, and immigration. Yeah, right.
Direct link.
Directly. So it takes you to visa, permits, and immigration, and that resources and guides. That's where you can find some helpful tips on applying for your study permit. And then there are some other presentations that can help you about yeah, so about working in Canada, working while studying, your co-op, working after graduation. This is a presentation I gave in September of last year, and so you can go through those 15 slides, and that might be helpful as well. So again, the resources and guides are things that I've created since coming to NBCC, so please check those out. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
Yeah?
Thanks. Yep.
Okay, so that would be my 2 minutes of
Yep.
of
And
advice.
let me just check if
Yep.
we have questions.
Okay.
And we don't. We do not
No.
have questions from the students, but because we're doing it the first time, and
Yeah.
we will schedule the webinar so it will be more consistent, and students will know that we here. And if they want to talk to someone in regards to international admission, study permit, so you know how we look like, and you know where to look for us. And if you have more questions, let's say you couldn't attend today, but you always can send us message on our Facebook page, which is NBCC International Facebook page, and I usually do daily chats and I answer the questions, except weekends, so Saturday and Sunday, it's day off, and please take in account time difference, because the time zones also different. So if it's after 5 o'clock for New Brunswick time, I might not be available, but I will get back to your questions. Any words before we?
Well, yeah. So you've got the Facebook chat, and I've got an immigration email that is it? Sorry, just I'm blanking on what it is because I know my personal email, but I've trying to direct all immigration questions to just one moment. Is it immigration visa help or what's?
Immigration email, usually when
Oh, yeah.
students ask me the questions in regards to immigration, I
Yes.
will refer you to Claire's working email. It's immigration
Yeah.
visa help
Visa
at
help. There we go.
nbcc.ca. And
There you go.
yeah, students ask me, and I ask them to send it to immigration visa help at nbcc.ca.
That's right. So I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. But one thing I would note is that I am serving 844 international students at this time.
Which is great.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I love them. But it means that I'm quite busy with meetings and presentations on here in Canada. But I'm also trying to help as many questions I can coming in. So just know that that's why I might be a little slower.
Yep. So please stay tuned. Thank you for your questions, and see you in next webinars. Bye bye.
Yeah, this is great. Bye.